Good morning and good afternoon. This is Michael Gonzalez presenting Objective 5, Scare the Consumer into Action. From the textbook, Advertising and Integrated Brand Promotion. Now let's just jump into it. So let's talk about what does it mean to scare the consumer into action. Well, the textbook has a clear and defined definition. The strategy is aimed to scare the consumer into acting. While fear appeals are typically designed to elicit a specific feeling, in this case it is fear. Fear is a strong emotion that causes the participant to act on an emotion or act to create something happening. So the goal of this objective when scaring someone is to scare the consumer enough in the advertisement that they need this product. They need to go out and get this or do something. And there will be a great example of this being seen in the last slide. Now, what is important to remember about this objective? Well, there's three main points. You must have plausible threat to motivate the consumer. There should be a substantial reason about why they should be scared and why they should act upon it. That this is a very important reason. The second reason is you must have a completely clear and easy to discern link between the alleviation of the threat and the use of the advertising brand, or in the case of public health, the link between avoiding the threat and changing behavior. So that comes from PSAs, from trying to warn people of a possible threat and to act upon it. So imagine seeing an ad on global warming and potential sea waters rising, and the ad scares the consumer into losing possible cities due to flood levels in global warming. And finally, the last strategic implication of fear-appealed advertising is that some fear ads are simply ridiculous and have low impact. So if some ads that intend to scare people aren't really taken seriously because the consumer isn't really that scared of the product and feels like, even though the advertiser does feel like they are intended to scare, the consumer just doesn't catch the feelings of fear, and the advertising fails in its purpose of scaring the consumer. Now I come and bring the final slide, which is the example of the slide, and as shown here.
Happy birthday to you.
Make a wish.
Granny.
Hello.
Have you done your homework?
Ada.
For a general strike.
Ready or not?
Here it comes.
Violent clashes with live ammunition against.
Deserve to get shot.
Have a nice day at school.
Airstrikes on rebel position.
We are going to stay.
What's happening?
Go.
Heavy fighting in Richmond.
Dad, where are we?
Rebel forces advance.
Daddy!
Happy birthday to you. Make a wish, darling.
All right, and that concludes my presentation. But before I do, here's some works cited, and I would like to discuss the effectiveness of that ad. The ad does depict a little girl that is going through what an average little girl would be going through in 2016 during this Syrian civil war and the crisis that was going on there back in 2016, and it still is. So it was scaring the consumer of this advertisement to potentially make a difference, to see that even though it's not happening right there in this first world country, it's still happening in the world, and that we should still care about it, because if it could eventually one day happen to us, and that should scare you. And that is the effectiveness of objective number 5, scare the consumer into action, by Mike Gonzalez. Thank you.
Happy birthday to you.
Make a wish.
Granny. Humor.
Hello.
Have you done your homework?
Adam.
For a Gemini strike.
Ready or not? Here it comes.
Arming clashes with British. Live ammunition against.
Deserve to get shot.
Have a nice day at school.
Airstrikes on rebel position.
We are going to stay.
What's happening?
Heavy fighting in Richmond.
Where are we?
Rebel forces advance.